Hello and welcome along to After Effects Basics with your host Robert Smith. In this part 3 of animating a 2.5 or 3D logo in After Effects, what we've done so far, we've animated our Illustrator file in 3D space and we've added a light and animated that a little bit, but I'm still not really happy with the legibility, if you like, of the logo against the background. They're far too close together in terms of color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a solid to fix that. So Apple Y, make a new solid, make it a blue one is fine, make it the size of the comp. I'm simply going to drag that down on top of there like this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the old Photoshop trick of selecting that layer and go to my toggle switches down here till I get this, my timeline, looking like that, and I'm going to go to multiply like that. Much better. Now the type really stands out against the background. We still get the light effect like that, but obviously we're not getting any shadows. So see if we can fix that. If I go back to my toggle switches, here's the problem, it's not a 3D layer. If I make that a 3D layer like this, and we need to tell it to, in the material options down here, to cast shadows like that. We don't want to cast, you want it to accept shadows. That's all good. Okay, let's have a look at it now. As you can see, the shadows are a lot more subtle in the background, like that. And the light. Now, as you can see, I've got a bit of a problem here. Now, the problem is that, let's have a look, we can see what the problem, this is something that will happen to you all the time. So let's fix that problem. As you can see, as it spins around now, we're losing the letters, half the letters. And I can fix that by going to two views horizontal like this. The problem is that that blue solid is right up against that type. So as it spins around, half of it goes behind the solid and half of it's in front. So to fix that, I'll just go to my solid layer like that. Actually, I'll just drag that down like that. I'm going to my transform position and I'll start to move it out into space. I'll put that out to about 900 like that. Now you'll notice on the right how small it is now. It's really tiny. Nothing's changed in terms of scale, which is really hard to understand. All it is, it's just a long, a bit into the distance, if you like, along the Z axis. And on the left hand side you can see it, there it is there. It's just in front of the background. So we need to scale that up at this point here. And that can be really do your head in after a while, how to sort that. But all we're doing is moving it away from us, and the fact we're moving it away makes it a lot smaller. So we simply need to scale it back up again. So if I go into transform, scale right up so it fills the area like that. As you can see on the left hand side here, it's right in front of the background. Let's go back to one view by clicking here like this. Let's have a look at it now. Now, as things spin around, I see my shadows, and they don't disappear. They don't go behind that blue solid. Very nice indeed, looking fantastic. Okay, but now I want to animate that just a little bit more. To do that, I want to animate that whole logo as a group. There's a couple of ways of doing that. Now, one of the most efficient ways of doing that is to apply a new camera to the scene. Right now we're using what's called the default camera, or active camera they like to call it. But what I can do is I can make another camera and we can actually animate that. So let's have a go at doing that. All I've got to do is go to Layer, New Camera. Now here's the scariest dialog box in the whole of the computer world. It's the camera settings. Now, a couple of things, we could go through this ad nauseum, but just at a basic level, make sure you're using a one node camera, not two. More of that later. And a preset of say 35mm. As you can see under here, they're like trying to simulate lenses you might have on a camera. Let's use a 35mm is good. Like that. Let's not worry about all this and just click OK. Fantastic. As you can see, it just moved out a little bit. Things changed just a little bit. Now you don't need to make a camera a 3D layer. So let's open and see what options we've got down here in our transform like this. Oh, it's got all the 3D options already. How good's that? Okay, now what we want to do now is use the position. So as you can see, I want to zoom back out. I'm just using the third number or the Z number here like this. So I'm going to zoom right out to about there like that. So if we look in two views, let's have a look at that in two views. Here's my camera. Let me just turn the light off for a second. The light's going to get in the way a little bit. As you can see, there's what the camera's looking at inside that part of the triangle here. If we look down here, if I just move that back in again, here's the actual camera itself. So what the camera's doing, it's just looking at the scene. Now, as opposed to the last one, last time we animated this, we had no control over the actual camera that was looking at the scene. In this case, we have. Now we've got a new camera, and we're going to simply animate that up and down. So I'll just leave that open while we're doing that, and I might just zoom that out a little bit so I can see the whole thing happening. So what I've done, I've got the camera, I've gone to position and the third number, and I've taken it as far back as I can. As you can see on the right hand side, I don't want to go any further than that because the background this will happen. You see how the background will become obvious. So I'll just move it to about there like that, and I'll put a keyframe in like this. Then I'll go to about 1 second because I want it to happen really fast for a start. So I'm going to zoom in really quickly to about there, the oldest trick in the book, to about there, and then over the next 9 seconds I'm not going to zoom very much at all, just a little bit like this. So it continues. Okay, so in the first frame, the camera's right back here. On the left hand side you can see it moving like this. As it moves towards the scene gets bigger. It does that really quickly to start off with, and then it slows down. Okay, let's have a look at that. And let's turn our light back on so we can see what's going on there with the shadows. Very nice indeed. Now the shadows are a lot more subtle. The logo is moving towards us, not only rotating, it's also moving towards us. And the camera's now moving very, very slowly between these two keyframes here. And as you can see, it takes a while. This is quite a modern Macintosh I'm working on. In fact, it's brand new, and it's slowing right down. Once we get into the 3D world, that's After Effects' way of saying you need a new computer. It can be very, very processor intensive, but it's all worth the effort. And I'm just talking while it simply goes to the end like this. It's ready to go. It's going through the first time on a RAM preview, so as you know, that'll take as long as it takes to work out all the sums and the calculations. And here we are in real time now. So I just might go back to one view of that so we can see it a bit better. Zoom in a little bit, and let's play it. As you can see now nothing's really moving in that scene other than the animation of the logo. What's happening is that the camera is moving quickly at that point, and now it's moving very slowly towards the logo, and it gives us that effect. Quite a good effect indeed. Okay, thanks for watching.